I don't think people get to see how much happens behind the scene before the president comes.
Yeah.
And it's so strict. Like, you can't change helmet, you can't change bike. Like, they have to make sure that there's no safety-wise, everything is good. The brakes are working.
Yeah.
Helmet doesn't have anything inside it and stuff. PS came and was like, he's probably going to want to ride a bike. Do you have a bike next to us that he can ride? I was like, yeah. So I did all of that. And then during the walk, he's walking around the factory and just stopped somewhere and is like, I want to ride now. Yeah, 200 people in the room just like all waiting for me.
Yeah.
And it just reached a point where I was just like, this is no longer me. Like, it's the security that are going to make him fall.
Yeah.
So yeah, luckily I didn't kill our president. It would have been a crazy story if he broke a bone. Thank God that didn't happen.
Hello guys, and welcome to another episode of the Just to Kick It Is a Blessing podcast. Welcome to the podcast where it's all about time, where we teach, inspire, motivate, and entertain through the art of storytelling. Today, I have a special guest in studio with me, and yeah, I'm sure we're about to have a fantastic conversation. You know, recently he did something that really inspired me. You know, it's one of those things that I feel like, you know, you do and you find purpose in it, or it just gives you a better definition of life or a better understanding of life. But I won't get too much into it. I'll let him share it with us. But yes, without further ado, I'll let him introduce himself.
Hi guys, my name is Masa Kituyi. Yeah, motorsport fanatic and enjoy speed, but I think we're here to talk about a lot more than that. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for gracing the podcast. And yes, before even we get to, you know, what brought us here and the conversation that brought us here, I'd like to know, what are you currently doing?
Currently, I've just left my last job. I was working at a company called Rome, where we were making electric motorbikes and electric buses.
Yes.
But just doing a transition right now. Hopefully, beginning of next year, move to Europe and just pushing myself for the next opportunity.
Okay. So what were you doing, or what was your role exactly at Rome?
I was product owner. So what a product owner does is you kind of steer development. Been working for them for 5 years now. And yeah, started as an engineer where I was designing a lot of the bike from the ground up and designing how the bike works. But then moved into a product role where you kind of listen to different stakeholders, from investors, B2B clients, as well as a lot of Boda riders themselves.
Yeah.
And just kind of choose what direction does the bike want to move in. Do you want to add more features? Do you want to lower the cost? Do you need more range? Do you need more speed? And kind of balancing all of those and then translating that into ways that engineers can work towards. So between testing plans, between pass criteria and so on. So yeah.
Okay. So when I look at it, is that, what did you study in university actually to have gotten you into such a role?
Did mechanical engineering. Okay. So I did mechanical engineering in University of Portsmouth in the UK. And then, yeah, just always had a passion for bikes. Was wanting to come back to Kenya, and there was very limited possibilities to do engineering in tech. Most of the engineering jobs didn't have that much design work. I specialized in a lot of product design and design for usage, design for customers, how bottles are shaped, how where's a button supposed to be, and so on.
Wow.
But yeah, that was very hard to find in Kenya. And then luckily stumbled across Rome when they were starting up.
Yes.
And yeah, been there ever since.
How did you get the job?
A funny story, actually. I had looked at loads of different places. At the time, I was working in Thika, and then wasn't feeling just the work that I was doing. I was like, I need to do more engineering, more design work.
Yeah.
And then, I kind of gave up on Kenya and was in the position where I was like, okay, I need to go abroad to work. But then one of my brother's colleagues was actually moving there, and my brother was writing for him a recommendation letter. And then he was like, oh, there's this cool startup that's doing electric vehicles and stuff. Probably try check them out. Applied to them 4 times, no answer, no reply or whatever. So I bought my tickets to Europe, and then the day before my flight, they just called me. They're like, yo, you want to come in for an interview? I was like, kind of have to go pick some stuff in Europe.
Yeah.
I hadn't booked a ticket back. I was going on a one-way ticket.
Yeah.
I was like, got to go pick some stuff, and then made the decision to come back, and landed a job. So it was dope.
Looking back at that decision that you made, to come back, is it something you're happy about?
Yeah, it was quite funny. When I went to Europe, I actually did an interview with BMW in Germany, and then came back and got the role at Rome, and at the same time got the job at BMW. And yeah, dude, like BMW was 50,000 euros per year, and they paid for my housing, they paid for school fees, masters, all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And I just didn't want that. I stayed in Kenya. I wanted to live in Kenya at that time, and I turned that down to earn 30K a month at going to Embakasi. And my parents thought I was crazy. But it's crazy how life works. Like growing with a startup, I got a lot more exposure. And in hindsight, I think it made me learn a lot more, a lot faster, because I wasn't just stuck to the engineering side. I managed to experience a lot more on how finances work, how fundraising works and stuff like that within a company that grew from a startup into a business. Whereas now thinking about it, like going to BMW, I'll just be making one screw for like 3 years. So I was happy with that decision.
But that's crazy because, a lot of people and exactly I'd say the same thing your parents say is, are you mad, to turn down such a thing? But so you turned it down because you just really wanted to live in Kenya?
Yeah, at that time I had been abroad for 7 years.
Yeah.
And just missed home. I had left Kenya when I was 17. And I just wanted to come back and just be in Kenya. I had come back, did a few internships, started working, and then I was just like, hey, now I'm facing the fact of where the economy was and the job market in Kenya. I was like, okay, maybe I might have to go abroad.
Yeah.
But getting an opportunity in something I was passionate about, I think that really pushed me to think more than just the pay or more than going to Europe and earning a lot more. It was like, I want to be here. I want to do this kind of stuff. I want to build motorbikes. So that was cool.
That's interesting. So at your role at Rome, and Rome is probably the orange Boda that we all see around, you helped create some of those parts, or when you mean mechanical engineering? Yeah,
so I joined before the motorbike project started. We were doing safari vehicles for national parks and stuff, and converting these Land Cruiser 79 series, the safari vehicle or the police pickup kind of thing.
Yes.
Converting those into electric. So removing the engine, removing the fuel tank and everything, putting in an electric powertrain system and doing that. And then few weeks into us starting, we started the motorbike project, kind of trying to define what is a Boda Boda.
Yeah.
Yes, it has 2 wheels and it's a motorbike, but how big does it have to be? What kind of sizes and stuff? What constraints? How fast does it need to go? How much does it need to carry and so on? And then from that, we did a few conversions of taking a petrol motorbike and making it electric.
Yeah.
in the initial stages, just so that we could have like a proof of concept and make that work. After that, we got into quick limitations of just the shape, the size and stuff. It wasn't great to carry batteries and things. So then designing the frame from scratch, suspension, rims, like all of those things, we've been developing them as an OEM. So it's not like bought these parts from China, bought these parts from here, but actually designing everything that you own the patents, you own all of the design and everything.
Wow.
Was a big thing to make it scalable. So yeah.
Oh, that's interesting, I think one of the days I saw that you were teaching the president how to, ride a bike. How's that, man? First of all, not many people come that close to the president.
Yeah, it was stressful. I can't lie, it was stressful.
Yeah.
I don't think people get to see how much happens behind the scenes before the president comes.
Yeah.
First of all, we had like a lot of, his team comes, they do all the safety checks and stuff. Then his PS came and was like, he's probably going to want to ride a bike. Do you have a bike next to us that he can ride? I was like, yeah. So got the bike, got the helmet, everything. And it's so strict. Like, you can't change helmet, you can't change bike. Like, they have to make sure that there's no, safety-wise, everything is good. The brakes are working.
Yeah.
Helmet doesn't have anything inside it and stuff. So did all of that. And then during the walk, he's walking around the factory and just stopped somewhere and is like, I want to ride now. But that was on the other side of the factory. So I had to like run across, get the bike, run and stuff.
Yeah.
And all of this was behind camera with like, 200 people in the room, just like all waiting for me.
Yeah.
So then reached and gave him the bike, and he was confident. He knew what he was doing and stuff.
Yeah.
I just gave him like a quick introduction and things, and he started going. But then his security was so nervous. So you have these security guards like holding onto the back of the bike and holding onto him for him not to crash. So I put it in the slowest setting so that he doesn't just fly across the room.
Yeah.
But he had balance and was confident, and then all of these security guards are like holding onto the bike and making him lose balance.
Yeah.
And it just reached a point where I was just like, this is no longer me. Like, it's the security that are going to make him fall.
Yeah.
So luckily I didn't kill our president. It would have been a crazy story if he broke a bone. Thank God that didn't happen. But that was crazy.
No. I saw that and I was like, wow, how interesting it is. But also I've seen, because, the other day when you're trying to teach me to ride the bike, you just do little like this.
And it goes.
It already goes. And you're telling me you'd put it in slow.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. I'd hate to see it on fast, But yeah, let's, recently you did something that only few people do in this world. And I thought it was so remarkable. And, I'd also, hopefully God can put something like that, in my path. But yeah, how was riding from Kenya to South Africa? How did that even start?
Yeah, man. Took a Boda from Nairobi to Cape Town, which was crazy. Always been something on my bucket list. I've always wanted to ride Nairobi to South Africa on a bike, and got the opportunity. So I had come to like towards the end of the time at Rome and things, and then they were donating a bike for research with the University of Stellenbosch in South Africa, and they're planning on doing like a lot of long-term research and doing further laboratory tests and so on for us, so that we can develop the bike better for the African market.
Okay.
And had a few different things, and we were originally going to ship the bikes down there and just do a handover of the keys and things. But then we said it will be cool for marketing and stuff if we ride it down, and with that, doing 6,000 kilometers is a good way to start the testing. You can't just give them a brand new bike. They want to kind of like age it and run through the cycles. So they were like, Masa, if we need this bike to make it there, you're the one who will know how to fix it if whatever goes wrong.
Yeah.
So at first I started by just like planning everything. What do you need to carry? What's going to break that you need to carry? And came up with like pretty much 3 bikes of spare parts. And was just like, whatever breaks, I'll have spares to fix it. We went the whole journey without a single thing breaking, no punctures, no nothing.
Well,
And yeah, that was just a testament of like everyone at Rome building just good products. Like we didn't make a special bike for this trip. We just randomly selected bikes off the end of the production line, said put in international SIM card and a phone holder, and we went. And it was like, yeah, that's just a testament that what you're buying is able to do that kind of journey. And the whole point was like, even for us, just giving the comfort and the confidence in the bike that this is built for the African market. This isn't a bike that's imported from abroad and just brought into the country. We've been developing this bike for the last 5 years specifically for this terrain, for these crazy climates that we went through, for the rural, off the beaten path kind of thing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, that was just really dope to do and an amazing adventure on its own.
You said something about SIM card and international SIM card and phone holder.
Yeah.
What the bike has, or what was that for?
So the phone holder was just for my Google Maps.
Okay.
So I didn't get lost.
Yeah.
And also my podcast and stuff. It gets quite boring riding through for 13 hours a day. You need some heavy playlists.
13 hours a day.
Yeah, bro. From sunrise from 5:30 a.m. till 7 p.m. You're just constantly on the move for 18 days. So that was rough. That beat my body. Yeah. The SIM card was the bike has a telemetry system like a GPS.
Yeah.
So for companies and stuff, a lot of fleet managers, Uber, Glovo, Bolt and stuff, they need it for just tracking where their bikes are and things. But also for Rome, they get a lot of data. How's the bike performing? What are the temperatures looking like? And we use that a lot to just gather a lot of data on what's going on the bike so that we can propagate graphs and stuff and develop it further. So yeah, it does come with a SIM card, and all bikes were gathering a lot of that data. But going out of Kenya, we just needed an international SIM card so that we could do that elsewhere.
I didn't know that the bike has a SIM card. Very rarely, like us when we sit on these Boda Bodas, even if they're electric, we don't think there's much that goes into it. We just know that it's different from the other one. No.
Yeah, no, data nowadays is becoming super valuable.
Yeah, that's true.
But also, you can't. Initially, the first stage of design, it was a lot of like, oh, this is broken, change this. This is not as you want it to do, fix that problem. But then over time, you need to start developing using numbers and like data sets.
Yeah.
So you really need that information to drive what direction do you want to do this. Because the temperature has gone up by half a degree, our speed is doing this, or our range has changed by this. So using those kind of charts and things really helps you develop the product into different ways. Yeah. So yeah.
No, that's crazy, man. When you look at it, what was the worst part of the journey? You couldn't.
Worst part. The whole journey was hardship. Let me not lie. 18 days of constant moving, where it's like sunshine or rain, whether you're not feeling it that day, you have to just keep moving. So yeah, you wake up at 4 a.m. and you start making breakfast. You like pack up your tents and everything, because we were camping most of the days. You pack up your tents and stuff, and by the time the first light starts coming, you get on the bike and start moving. The days where it's raining, it's pouring, and you just have to keep riding. There are days where it's 39 degrees and it's like super hot. Because you're on like media and stuff, you have to wear all the safety protection and stuff, and you're melting inside like these huge leather jackets, leather gloves and stuff.
Yeah.
You just want to ride in a t-shirt. But So I think that over a long period of time
Yeah.
was the worst. If I was to do it again, I'd not do it in such a rush.
Yeah.
This one, it was just like, go, 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 go. But yeah, I think that takes a toll. Even my body, at the end, my body was beaten.
Yeah. You could feel it.
I could feel it, bro. It took me like 3 weeks to recover my back, my neck.
Yeah.
Because to get the most range out of the battery, you're trying to like drive in a streamlined position, like kind of like MotoGP.
Okay.
And that just kills your back. Your neck is killing you. Your hands get tired and stuff, and you just have to keep riding. So yeah, that took a toll on my body. It took me like 3 weeks to recover. Just a lot of swimming, stretching.
Yeah.
And for massages, went to the chiropractor.
Yeah.
I got a new respect for these guys. Like, do the guys who just ride 12, 13 hours every day in Nairobi, constantly, 7 days a week, as long as possible.
Yeah.
That stuff it's I got a new respect for them. That's hardship. I mean, once I get off the bike, you'll never know. Like, Coca-Cola has never tasted that sweet. Like, you get off and you have a cold Coke, and you're just like, thank God.
For real, huh?
It's nice.
You're
it's
like,
nice.
yeah, this thing has slaved, yeah.
Yeah, man. Coca-Cola should start endorsing Boda guys. That's the real market.
For real, yeah. No, it's okay, don't worry. But yeah, no, it's crazy, man. But what do you think was probably the actually, even before we get to your best experience, how many countries did you go through actually? Just tell us about the trip. So you started in Kenya.
Started in Kenya. We went through 6 countries.
Yeah.
So drove to Tanzania, then Malawi, Zambia, Botswana, and South Africa.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean, like, each country is so different.
Yeah.
You go through, and like, don't get me wrong, with all of this, the whole team, we were 6 people.
Yeah.
You have a support chase car following the bike, and then you have a solar team with a pickup that drive ahead and start charging batteries and stuff, and then you just come and give them dead batteries, take the fully charged batteries and carry on. And everyone gets like burnt out, like, it's a lot of work. The team just, you get into a rhythm of just like reach camp, start setting up camp, eat, shower, sleep, wake up, repeat. And you're just doing that over and over. So you get through a routine, but you get burnt out. Every time you cross a border, the country is so different, and you're just like, that energy level is just like picks up again. And that really, really helped just everyone gel together and like keep sane, because it was a mission. It felt like some Top Gear stuff, like Grand Tour.
Yeah.
But yeah, that stuff is tiring.
What do you think was the best part of this experience?
The best part? There's so many things. Like, one, seeing each one of these countries.
Yeah.
I think I've been to Zambia, I've been to South Africa, I've been to TZ, but driving through them or riding through them, you get to see so much more about how the economy is doing. We drove through Botswana during the elections, and just like going through the whole country and talking to different people at different markets. And I don't know if you know much of the geography of Botswana, that the north is very neglected economically compared to the south. The south has water and is close to South Africa.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of development in the south, but
Yeah.
in the north, it's very neglected. Same situation with Malawi. And like, having those conversations with people really gives you a better understanding of the country, more than just like flying into an airport, go to a
Hotel.
4-star hotel, and then you go to same clubs as what you have all around the world, kind of thing. So that was really cool. There are a few parts where, like, I mean, I had loads of conversations driving an electric bike through rural parts of these countries. It's just like really cool. Like, like in Malawi, there were kids that you've probably shown them the first time they've ever seen or heard of an electric vehicle.
Yeah.
And number one, they're just like, why is it quiet? Why does it have reverse gear?
Yeah.
Why are you opening the fuel tank and putting your jacket inside there? Like, they're already shocked by that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But then as you explain and things, people have this predetermined like blockers and hurdles around why electric vehicles can't work in Africa. As you explain to them how you can charge it anywhere, you can charge the bike anywhere, you can charge your phone. These guys have limited electricity, but they all have a phone, they have a radio that they're walking around with and stuff. And they just come and like, as you explain all of these business issues that we've had to design and develop around, they really quickly switch that mentality from pessimism to optimism and just be like, this is super dope. Many of them first thought like, oh, this thing is way too expensive. This thing is like made in America, made in China, and just brought in.
Yeah.
And then for them to understand that like this is designed in Africa, built in Africa and stuff. And like, they're so excited that this kind of like technology is growing and being developed on the continent. People in like, really, really hard situations are so inspired by that. And that was like really, really touching to just see the hope that people have for the continent. I feel like sometimes we forget how good things are. I left Kenya just after Mandomano and all of that stuff. And everyone was just like, we're in the gutters. And hearing that story of just like, oh, Kenya is so developed, Kenya is this, and like, you guys have it nice and stuff.
Yeah.
I really came back with a different appreciation of just like, we have our problems, but we also have blessings around us. We also have a lot of opportunity compared to many other countries and stuff. And like, both on a economic scale, but also on a personal scale. Just really, a trip like that just changes your perspective in life and just like teaches you a lot more gratitude and blessings towards what you have. So that was really, that's the main highlight. Like that perspective shift just really changed a lot.
No, it's interesting to hear you say that your highlight came from, just that, I thought, most people when they go on something like that, a lot of people, their highlight could be came across this or saw that or saw this. So to hear that from you it's quite remarkable. But I saw there was a day like you were like from me to the camera to an elephant. What the hell were you thinking, bro?
Yeah, man, like, don't get me wrong, there are mad views. There's so much to see.
Yeah.
I can't even pick like individual views to explain. But there's a day between Zambia and Botswana, just next to the border. There's a huge wildlife like hub there. So after Victoria Falls, we were going to Botswana, and that whole area is just filled with loads of conservancies between Zambia, Zimbabwe, Namibia, and Botswana, with loads and loads of wildlife. So we were just going, and there was elephants crossing the road, and I stopped on the side, and the camera guy is like, so we go there closer, we get some photos. So I go and I ride next to, stupid me decided to ride next to the matriarch elephant. But then I like rode and I turned off the road to like face the elephant. And then I realized, and like it was like trying to stand on two legs to like get some branches. And I was like, this is so sick. And then just, the excitement just quickly disappeared. And I was like, dude, if this thing charges me, the only direction that I'm riding the bike is towards it. Let me just turn around, So I'm trying to turn, and there were some small leaves. So I started riding to turn, and those leaves were deep. So the bike is getting stuck in like leaves and sand. This elephant is hearing the noise and is getting pissed off at me. So it stops what it's doing and it's like flapping at me. And I'm just like, do not get stuck here. Do not get stuck. So I'm kicking with my legs, just like, get out of this situation. That was closest point to dying. That was in Zambia. In Botswana, again, we were at a camp, Elephant Sands, amazing place. It's like a watering hole where they've just made a big borehole with like a dam and stuff where elephants come and drink. And then there's lodges and stuff and tents and stuff around the place. And yeah, dude, you're walking to the bathroom and like huge wild elephant just comes like 2 meters away from you. And they tell you like the elephant has right of way. You're supposed to move out of the way.
Yeah.
So the elephant knows its mission is to go for water. Its mission isn't to attack you.
Yeah.
You just need to get the hell out of its way.
Yeah.
And we were walking and we were in conversation and we hadn't seen this thing until it's like right here. And then you just like full silence.
Yeah.
Just start walking backwards. Just leave it to be. And I'm telling you, like in deep sand,
Yeah.
and the elephant is that close, there's nothing you're doing.
No,
there's no running, there's no climbing a tree. There's nothing. I'm in the desert.
Yeah.
Like this thing is right next to me. And I was like, I'm dead here. But such a beautiful animal. It's my favorite animal.
Brilliant.
It's really dope.
That's crazy. When you're camping, you aren't scared actually of something crawling up your tent or biting you? You know me, I think that's my biggest fear for camping.
Yeah, you're living the soft life, huh?
No, bro. Like, it's not soft life, bro. I'm really... Okay, but yeah, I said this year I'm gonna try conquer some of my fears now, you know. But yeah, I'm like... I think I've watched too many movies when a scorpion has crawled into someone's tent or something.
Yeah, I was scared, especially like... the further south you go,
Yeah.
you're closer to the Kalahari Desert and stuff, and like that desert arid situation, you're like, yeah, now this is where snakes, scorpions, all these dangerous things are like around. Didn't see any of them until the last day. So the whole trip there were no crazy doodles and insects and stuff. That was really good. What did scare me was like, yeah, there were some days where you plan as much as possible to go to this and this campsite.
Yeah.
But then because you've not covered enough range or you've covered too much range, you change where you're going to sleep.
Okay.
So you just keep riding and at 6:30, wherever the sun is setting, you stop and you set up camp. And a few of those times were like on the side of the road. 2 times we camped on the side of the road and I was like, yeah, now my fear isn't animals. My fear is just like bandits or like just being mugged and stuff. But the people I was with were so calm and chill about it. I wasn't going to be the buzzkill.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, if they're okay with it,
Yeah.
I'll just not be the slowest person. So there was one guy who was a bit big. So I was like, if it's time to run, I'm not the slowest here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think like you just feed off that energy of like everyone else is just very positive and like confident in what they're doing. That yeah, I refused to be the buzzkill and I just went with the flow. Not the best idea in hindsight, but it worked and we were all Gucci.
Yeah, because, bro, even me, that's another thing I'd fear, you know, like, hey, bro, where are we staying? Is it safe? You know, especially now you're telling me just there on the side of the road must be crazy.
Yeah, no, there was some wild camps. Like in Tanzania, there was a day we were riding and again, we like had found a campsite on Google Maps. Road at like 6:30, we reach close to it and Google Maps says, take a right. And you look and it's just like buildings. There's no road and you're just like, what the hell?
Yeah.
So we ask locals and stuff. They're like, yeah, just drive back 150 kilometers, take a left and then come back and you'll reach here. And we were like, nah, we don't have time for that. It's getting dark.
Yeah.
So we just went, we were going to camp on the side of the road, but then we were like, oh, I don't know the situation on like just pulling up on someone's property and camping. So we have to ask for permission. Mm-hmm. Masa, you speak Swahili, so you're the one who's going to ask. Just go into this house, into this farm, knock on the door of this farmer, and ask him if we can sleep in his property. I was like, "What do you mean?" And they're like, "Yeah." So I'm like, "How do you ask that conversation? Like, hi, can I sleep in your property?"
Yeah.
And it's like exactly that. I was like, "Okay."
Yeah.
So yeah, some old mzee in South Tanzania.
Yeah.
We knocked on the door and we explained the situation and stuff. And he was like really, at first he was skeptic about it. Like, what do you mean? And we were like, we have tents, we have water, we have showers, everything. Like, can we just pull up here? We just need permission to be on your property. And he's like, okay, I understand. but this is a family house. I need to call my wife. So he calls his wife. His wife is chill and stuff about it. And he just let us camp there from 7 p.m. until 4:30 in the morning, and we just left him some merch and stuff.
Yeah.
But really, really just cool, those kind of experiences where people are so accepting. I think I've never been to America, but I think like that wouldn't float in Texas. I just think of like Texas, you pull up to someone's farm, he's already sitting there with a shotgun, be like, get off my property. So yeah, just having that like really nice relations is just really dope.
Oh yeah, that's crazy. Like just to allow random people to come sleep on a farm, bro. But I think also Africa, I think we're a bit more communal, you know, like
No,
especially
100%.
I'm sure your story must have sold, you know. I'm not sure about the Swahili, but I'm sure the story was. I'm sure the story was good enough. Man.
No, he was quite chill about it. We showed him the bike, showed him a lot of the footage and stuff, and like he was cool. But yeah, I mean, also, you know, when you start pulling that wooden fence and you've left all the cars, the bike and stuff, and I'm just walking like a kilometer on foot towards this house. And he had like a nice house and like a very nice, neat farm and stuff. But when you knock on the door and he opens the door and is like, what the hell are you doing here? You're like, so I have a big ask from you. Can I just sleep in your property?
Yeah.
It's like, he was a really dope guy.
No. Riding for like 13 hours, did you have any days that were like, you really thought about life and what's the meaning of life?
Weird that you asked that. So like, obviously I had just resigned from my job. I didn't have my next step planned, and I was like, okay, this is a great 3-week trip that's going to give me time to like think about my next steps, reevaluate like what I'm doing and stuff like that. And it was amazing because being on a bike, you stay in the present, and it really helped clear out what was in the past, like all the work that I've been doing, all the things that are happening back home and stuff. You really have to like stay concentrated, stay in the moment. So you kind of like block a lot of that, and it clears out your brain a lot. But then at the same time, it doesn't let you think about stuff. So I tried. There were times where I was like, okay, what are we doing in life? What do I want to do? What's my 5-year plan, 10-year plan, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
And you're just like, just Kendrick Lamar in my ears, just driving through the highway. Like you can't think about stuff. So a really nice, refreshing clearance of the brain, but you don't get time to do that. Obviously, at night when you're not on the bike and stuff, most of the times I'm just super tired to do much.
Yeah.
Obviously, we had great conversations within the group around the fire. You talk about like what happened in the day, kind of like highlights and stuff, and that was really nice reflection. On some of the rest days, we had a few days where you chill at camp and you're not pushing kilometers and stuff. And there I was journaling a lot and like writing down just what I'm feeling, what I've been through and stuff. And that was really, really the main time to capture what the trip was and stuff, but not much time on like long-term thinking and stuff.
But now that you've done it, have you like thought about it or?
Oh yeah.
Has that experience changed you? Maybe let's say that, because for me, when I look at it personally, maybe also because I'm biased, I think some of those things like they really open your mind. You know, especially I think you are saying you went through like 6 countries. You saw, I'm sure, different states of economies, different cultures, different things. You know, what was your learning from that?
Yeah, man. Like I think number one is just like bucket list stuff. This has been on my bucket list, and like taking something off that you've always wanted to do and always dreamt about doing has a level of just like fulfillment within, right? The other thing is just like perspective. I think your perspective changes. As I was saying, you get grateful for just the things you have. You get grounded a lot more. on just like what actually matters in life and things like that. I think that going through all of these places, like I reached Cape Town, and like Cape Town, it's a party, yeah. But I wasn't there for party. I was like walking around being like, another Lambo. What does this guy have for his Lambo compared to that guy in Malawi who has a bicycle?
Yeah.
You know, like really judging the needs versus the wants.
Okay.
Really changed a lot of that perspective. Seeing just different communities, both on a religious side, but also on like how in Africa community really just builds themselves, right? I was raised that I was brought up saying that you're raised by a community. It's not just your parents, it's the people around you and stuff. And I think that really is instilled and brought back on a trip like this, where you see so much of life, from the goods and the bads. And yeah, I just came back really grateful. I came back with different mentality on like just how to tackle problems, how to deal with challenges and stuff in life. And I think that doing these things, I mean, like when we started this trip, when we said like, oh, we're not shipping the bikes, let's just ride them down, people thought we were crazy. And like even so one of the guys I was with, he was doing his PhD and he was doing a lot of the organizing around it. And everyone was just like, that's a crazy idea and it won't work. But he was just like, I'm going to just keep pushing this until someone tells me no. Yeah. And people told him it was crazy. People told him it's not possible, but no one told him no. And he did it. And I was just like, that's such a interesting like perspective of like, yeah, you want to do this, you doubt yourself, because even him, he didn't think it was possible.
Yeah.
But he built this team of people around him. He put himself in the best position, and he said like, no matter what happens, for my education, I have to get this thing done. And he just stuck with that, and like that perseverance of like, even if things went wrong, there's going to be a solution around it. Even if budget doesn't catch, we're going to find a way around that, and we'll work around each hurdle that we come across. That mentality really stuck with me and like helped me like, yeah, now what the next steps or the next chapter in life is going to be, I'm not really scared about that. Like I really came back just being like, yeah, whatever comes, we'll face it and we'll deal with that. And that's a really cool thing that I learned through that.
You know, okay, I've known you for a while, but previous to this trip is you are a motocross rider. When did you fall in love with bikes, man?
I don't know. I think so. I started riding when I was 4 years old. Okay. It's been now 24 years of riding. And yeah, like, I don't know. See, every kid likes motorbikes. I don't know where it started.
I'm not too sure.
But
yeah,
I had a friend, Waruru. He used to ride when we were in kindergarten and in primary school. And I'd always just like go to his house, go with him to the track, watch him ride and stuff. And I was begging my parents for a bike. And they were just like, nah. And obviously, like a 4-year-old is asking you for a motorbike. You're not gonna be buying that story.
Yeah.
But I was begging, and it reached a point where he was moving up to the next category, and I was sick, and my dad didn't know how to make me happy, so he was just like, what do you want? I'm like, a bike. It's like, cool story, bro. And then it's like, but what do you actually want? And then I was like, a bike. So then the next day he came into hospital, and I was like admitted in hospital with my mom. Yeah. My mom was staying with me. And then he came in the next day and is like, yeah, I got you a bike. Me as a kid, I was like, yeah, I'm no longer sick. Let's go home.
Yeah.
I'm out. Yeah. My mom was like, what? Hell no. There's no way you've bought him a bike. This is not floating.
Yeah.
So yeah, it caused a few issues in the household. Mom was never for it, but yeah, she kind of just reached a point where it was like, it's better he does it on a track in a safe environment than on the road, or he's so happy with it that I can't be the evil parent taking it away from him.
The happiness.
So yeah, she kind of like stuck with it, and 24 years later, love her to death for that. So yeah.
Are you still fighting about it?
Yeah, there are a few moments that like rekindle the fire.
Yeah.
Whenever I injure myself or get hurt, there's always that thing of like, but why are we on bikes? Like, we need to stop that. But no, I think they've seen the growth of what the sport in particular has done for like my own growth, my education and stuff, that they're content with it. Obviously, they don't want me riding bikes, especially on the road.
Yeah.
But now for me that's my release. So they accept that.
You know, it's quite interesting because there's a guy I listened to, a podcaster, is called Stephen Bartlett, and he was saying sometimes you don't have to be the best at something, but build such complementary skills or even different skills from something that opens up an opportunity for you. You see, like you, when I think about it, you are a mechanical engineer, and then they had the Boda project, and you're a rider. So, you know, could have that, you know, given you an upper advantage. It's like if they came and asked, we want a rapper who's a golfer. You know, you'll find very few rappers who are golfers, you know.
Yeah. No, 100%. Like, I mean, I think it was the love for bikes that made me go into even the mechanical engineering route.
Yeah.
Many people have an understandable struggle of like, what do I want to be in life? Because I don't know what I want to do. I knew that I wanted to build bikes. I always wanted to build bikes. I always wanted to be in the motorsport racing scene and stuff. And therefore, I chose like, yeah, let me be a mechanical engineer. Let me go through this route. And yeah, that really steered the way that I went through my education and stuff to the point that I got that job. And yeah, now still looking into building bikes as I go into the next step. So it's like really staying on that track kind of thing. But yeah, now there's definitely certain skill sets, and I'm a firm believer of do what you love, because then it doesn't feel like a job.
Yeah.
Because I love bikes so much.
Yeah.
There's parts of the design process that like I'd be doing 20 hours of work in a day.
Wow.
Like you come home from work, you're tired of the work that you were doing, but then you're still doing work for the company, just researching into this or like designing this and stuff, because that's just what you're nerding about, right? If you go into my YouTube like history, it's just bikes. It's like you sleep, dream, live it.
Yeah.
That it doesn't actually feel like you're doing work. Obviously, there's documentation stuff that sucks, but
no. But it's interesting, like what you said is, if you love what you do, then it doesn't seem like work.
yeah.
Bro, how did you actually, like, you know, it's crazy that you say that very young you knew what you wanted to be. Like how? Because for me, I'm still seated on this chair and struggling about what I want to be or who I want to be. And I think there's people even 60, 70 that struggle with identity. So how did you discover your identity at such a young age?
I don't know, bro. Yeah. I don't think it was much of a identity. Well, identity is a wild word. It wasn't much of a search for it, because I grew up around that. Yeah. I was the kid that like Christmas Day you get your new toy car and stuff. Mm-hmm. On Boxing Day, I'm ripping it apart, trying to make it go faster, or try and put in this motor into that and stuff. Like I was always a tinkering kid. So like I understand how the engineering side just got into me by me just ripping stuff and breaking my own toys and things. But like, yeah, no, I think that the biggest thing I'd say is choosing what you actually like doing is a very broad statement. I think many people don't know what they enjoy. I see many people who like I've moved countries a lot, by the way, and like when you move a country and like come into a new city, the best way to find friends is by doing hobbies and finding activities and making friends with people through those activities. And many people struggle because they're like, oh, I don't have any hobbies. I don't know what I like doing with my free time.
Yeah.
I watch YouTube, I drink, I watch movies and stuff.
Yeah.
And like trying to understand what you enjoy
Yeah.
is a very valuable thing, because many people say get one hobby that makes you be active, make one hobby that clears your mind,
Yeah.
make one hobby that makes you money, do one hobby that like you're releasing and like you're just having fun, right?
Yeah.
I think that that's very important to go by, and it's very important for people to understand what does clear your mind. For me, riding clears my mind. I love just like going to Naivasha with some friends and just be like, you see that hill there? Let's ride to the top of it. Because you're just like completely out of whatever is stressing you and whatever is bothering you. You just have that reset. What's fun? I love riding bikes. It's fun, pushing boundaries and riding with friends in a competitive level. That gives that adrenaline rush and the excitement out of it. So I think that really steered just my passion towards that. And then I just found myself in this situation. I don't really think I searched for it.
Yeah.
But I kind of just like went with the flow and just enjoyed every step of the way. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. I mean,
It's
there's
hard.
still things I don't know.
Yeah,
I still don't know what hobby is going to make me money, but
Yeah. But it's hard. But I think if there's one thing that I've picked up from what you've said is maybe sometimes we're doing the wrong thing of searching, out there when you should be searching inside. So you see, for you, what I've picked a lot for it was inbound. It came from inside, ripping the toys apart, getting well after receiving a bike, So I think a lot of us, maybe the thing is we're always out there searching instead of actually like searching inside. And I think a lot of our answers are inside, How's motocross, man? You've done motocross for how many years now?
24 years I've been riding. I've been racing for 22. Jesus. So yeah. 22. It's been cool. I mean, the sport has taught me a lot of things. My parents kind of like pushed it, like, if you want to do this, you need to like show us what you're putting onto the table. Motorsports is not cheap, and like from a very young age, my parents were like, the house help can't wash your kit. You need to wash your kit. You need to wash your bike. You need to write budgets on how much fuel are you using, how much spare parts, how much like do you need for racing and stuff. Like I used to run it like I'm also the race director kind of thing. It's like you're going with pitch decks to your parents as a 11-year-old, just being like, look, this is what the year is going to look like. This month I need this. This is my next service and stuff. And like a lot of that taught me from a very young age just how to manage money and like what that kind of just like needs to do that racing. And that did teach me a lot at a very young age, right? Like being in Excel, writing budgets for an annual budget as an 11-year-old. What the hell?
Yeah.
But so that kind of commitment, what my parents wanted from me to be able to, as a like they needed to see that commitment from me for them to give me the cash and stuff.
Yeah.
Really just taught me a lot about that. Again, with the sport, like, it teaches you so much. I think being in individual sports, it's never talked about how much is a mental game. Obviously, racing bikes is dangerous and risky. You put blood, sweat, and tears literally into what you're doing, and yeah, sometimes you don't get it as you want, and you get hurt, and like, to see championships go away because of injury, or to just fall in a race or make a small mistake where you lose 3 seconds in a race, and you now have to just like quickly reset, regroup, get back onto like the chase and stuff, really teaches you this mentality of like, don't give up, that resilience towards like, keep pushing, don't be a sore loser, don't be blaming your bike. You don't, apart from Lance Stroll, you don't see many motorsports people just get out and start kicking their bike or their vehicle. It's like, yeah, this thing broke, it is what it is, kind of thing. So yeah, and I think having a lot of like trust in yourself.
Yeah.
I think many people sit and say, oh, riding a bike is just, you sit on the bike and turn your thing, it can't be tiring. But obviously all of these movements, you're moving a 120 kg bike constantly, taking a lot of absorption and stuff. So you have to be physically fit. But also you have to accept that sometimes it's going to be sketchy. There are times in competition where you don't want to do that. You don't want to hit that jump. You don't want to go that close to this guy.
Yeah.
But you're not going to be the one who chickens out, because you have that mentality of like, I'm better than him. I will hold the gas that much longer than him. I will brake that much later than him. And that gets sketchy. And to have that kind of self-confidence in yourself and just say like, if this goes wrong, I believe that I will be able to handle that situation in that instance. I won't panic. I won't hesitate. Hesitation is one of the worst things in motorsports.
Yeah.
So just to have that like confidence in yourself and in your ability, obviously everyone try and ride and drive within your skill set.
Yeah.
But like on a racetrack, you do have to push boundaries and you do have to push your limit in that sense, where you have to rely on your own ability to just think fast, react quickly, and like deal with whatever happens. A stone can come in the middle of the way. I've landed on a few baboons. I've been on Wayaki Way and a stone comes flying from a truck and you just have to dodge it. You have goats crossing the road.
Yeah.
So, there's things that just happen in life that aren't in your control that you have to just quickly deal with and stuff. And I think that really builds a lot within you on like just, you got this.
Yeah. No, I think you've brought out a lot of lessons that motorsports and riding has taught you. But what do you think is the most profound one that you've learned from it?
There are quite a few. I think, like, as I'm talking about like resilience and stuff, I think that I went racing in the UK and I always used to say this is a one-man army. Obviously, there's a lot of people who supported and helped me through it, but you're waking up at 2 a.m. in the morning to drive across the country for a race, and you go do the qualifying and stuff, and like working double jobs during uni and stuff just to fund whatever you can and stuff out of it. That drive to be like, I am going to do this and I'm pushing so much to even just have the opportunity to ride. I don't need to win. You don't have to be the best at something, but you can just say like, this is what I'm going to do, and just sticking to that plan and like pushing through on that, I think has taught me a lot on resilience and just being, I hate the word being a man, but like just growing up to be like, this is the direction we're going, and let's get it done. I think that's a really important thing that not just motocross, sports in general teaches you a lot about that. but also it's an attitude that I take away from sports into anything that I'm doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I also like the fact that you said hesitation is bad in any sport, and it's the same. Even when you play golf, and the moment you're on your downswing and you hesitate or you doubt yourself even a little, things can go wrong, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think we'll have you here for another conversation. I think there's a lot to talk about your motocross career, racing there, the difference between racing in Africa and racing out there. But, bro, I really appreciate you coming on the Just to Kick It Is a Blessing podcast, you know, and sharing with us this amazing experience you've been through. Do you think there's anything we missed to ask you?
No, bro. I think it's been great. Thanks for having me. And yeah, no, it's been really cool.
Do you think there's anything you wanted to ask me?
Yeah, I think generally, what's your release? I say a lot, like when I'm stressed, when I'm tired, when the world is giving you an ass whooping. My best release is put on a helmet and go ride.
Yeah.
What do you do for that?
I think for me, I have a lot of releases. Sometimes depends on mood and everything. So it depends on like exactly also what I'm going through. But the other thing that I found that's a good release for me, or something that keeps me sane, is praying. Sometimes I also, in the office, I listen, like when I'm working, like especially on days when I'm stressed, I listen to like a lot of gospel music, you know. The other day I was doing my Apple replay, yeah, and like my top 10 artists are gospel artists. Like guys were shocked. They're like, for the first time, even your brother's not made it onto your list, you know. And I'm like, that's crazy actually, you know, but shout out to him. But yeah, there's days I like to play sports as well, you know, so a good game of golf or, you know, football with the boys. It's quite, you know, a stress reliever. But then the other thing that I really do to like keep sane is I really journal. Like I write a lot, yeah. So
Yeah, I like that reflection. I think too few people. Well, the world is moving too digital that you type things and everything works without a pen and paper.
Yeah.
But actually writing down your thoughts, and you can do that digitally, is really important. I quick shameless plug, but Tupac is too embarrassed to do it. You have a new journal coming out in 2025.
Yeah, soon. This December actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, I write a lot. I think I've been writing for like 5 years now. It also like, when you look back, you say, this issue wasn't as big as I thought. You know, at that time you think, hey, this is beef. And you look back, you're like, yeah, it was bad, but it wasn't as bad as I thought. So I think there's that aspect of, you know, reflection. And there's a quote I've been coming across a lot, and it says, to live life forward, to live life must be lived forward but understood backwards. Something like that. And I was like, damn, that's a bit deep, you know. So yeah, I journal a lot. And I also talk to people, you know. I think I've been fortunate to have very good friends who listen to me yap. So yeah, that's I think what I do to stay sane, and also exercise sometimes. So I'd go gym, swimming, you know. But I want to also try do new things, you know, like new experiences, things that scare me. I did zip lining there like a while back, thanks to Jeff, and it was one of the best experiences ever, you know.
When was the last time you were physically scared? Like obviously you can wake up in the morning and be scared from anxiety of what is going on, but like physical experience, when was the last time you were scared?
Bro, I don't know, but the day that you were teaching me to ride the bike, I was scared a bit, because every time I kept on turning, especially to my right hand, I think my right hand was a bit heavy. So I was scared I'd fall, you know. And falling is like one of my worst fears. You know, the other day, one of my friends had a birthday at Skate City, and I refused to skate just because I was scared to fall.
Stay young, stay active. Be a kid, man. Kids aren't scared. I love it. Like now I train a lot of these small kids, and you see them just like...
I like that you said kids are not scared, because I think we've taught fear to kids. Yeah. Because even like you see a young kid, they'll be touching a snake.
Yeah. You know, I saw that on Instagram the other day, and I was
all these crazy things. It's us who build fear into them.
100%.
Yeah, but thank you so much for blessing the podcast. We look forward to having you again. We wish you all the best with what you're trying to achieve, and we pray that God blesses you abundantly, Masa.
Bless, brother.
All right.
Thanks.
For those of you listening in from home, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Just to Kick It Is a Blessing podcast. Thank you for tuning into the podcast where it's all about time, where we teach, inspire, motivate, and entertain through the art of storytelling. And remember, no matter where you are, no matter what you're going through, just to kick it is a blessing. Goodbye and see you next week.
Brand new day. If a hater come, we are letting him stay. If a demon come for the boomer, yeah, singing no weapon forming against me shall prosper.